I'm Steve.
And I'm Les.
And this is another episode of Tabletop Tasting, Sip, and Play. Les, what did we play?
Today, we played Canvas. Now, you can't tell that because it doesn't say it anywhere on the box, but it does if you flip it over to the back. It says Canvas. But Canvas is really a game about creating art. So over the course of several rounds, you're drafting cards. And the cards that you draft have these lovely little images on it. So they're, on clear see-through sheets. There's pictures on them, and then there's symbols and color swabs at the bottom of them. And really, you've got a series of objectives that can change up every game that tell you, maybe you want to make pairs of triangles, or maybe you want to have all the colors involved in the painting. And then as you draw cards, you get up to a maximum cards of 5 in your hand, or at any point between that, you can take 3 of your cards and you can grab a background and put them together to make a painting. So here's one of my paintings that I had done up, Divine Mass. I put 3 cards in there, and then you go through each of your different objectives and score it to see if it earns a ribbon. At the end of the game, you count up all your ribbons, and they're worth points, and then that determines who the most fancy, prestigious artist is as we design our beautiful galleries. So that really is Canvas. Steve, what did you think of the game?
Okay, so it's not a great game for someone that's colorblind, such as myself.
Okay.
But I do like some of the mechanics of it. Like if you want a picture that's a little bit further down, you have to use your tokens to be able to get to it.
They're just adorable tokens as well. They're called inspiration tokens, but they look like little, little art painting trays.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. So I like that. And then if you choose one that has a few on it, then you can kind of grab that. So there's a little bit of strategy involved there, so you can have a little bit more options later on. And it's kind of cool that you get to design your own art piece and so on and so forth.
So as somebody who's colorblind, what was the biggest challenge of being colorblind and playing Canvas?
So this is not a game that was designed for people that are colorblind. When they were coming up with producing it, they weren't thinking about me. That's fine, and that's okay. It's not every game has to be for that. I'll play it, but it's not something that I'm going to rush out to play again.
It's funny. With Canvas, one thing I really do like, I do like coming up with the final pictures. And, every picture's got a unique name to it.
Yeah.
I enjoy that aspect. One thing I don't enjoy is that every time a picture is taken, which is, or a piece of film is taken, which is pretty much every round, you're sliding everything down. So it's a full-time job for somebody just to constantly be cycling and sliding the cards across. But otherwise, it's a fairly relaxing game, and it is pretty. You can't argue with it.
No, for sure.
It's a very beautiful game. There's a number of expansions for it, so this is the core game as well. There's 2 main expansions that have come out, and I'm sure they're going to keep producing more for it as well.
The box is gorgeous. Like it looks like a piece of art. It's really cool. I really like it.
Very, very pretty game. And the other expansions, as you get them, they all keep forming one larger picture as well.
Cool.
So it is quite pretty. So Steve, this is a very artistic type game. What have you brought to pair with it for our playthrough of Canvas?
Yeah, so when I was looking at the game and thinking back to it, it's a very neat, a very easygoing game. And so that's kind of what I was thinking of, was something that would be easygoing, something that's just like nice and neat. And so what I've paired, and that we've enjoyed actually throughout the whole game, is from Paradigm. And it's their Chapter 1, Wheated Whiskey.
Excellent. And so let's watch the cork popping of that bottle.
Yeah. There we go. All right, we're just going to pull the whole thing out. Let's hear it. That's a quick little pop.
Little tiny, little light.
Yeah.
A little light.
A little light. Well, that's okay. Let's get into this.
Interesting little bottle too, right?
Actually, I kind of like it. It's a neat little bottle.
I was not expecting that nose off of it.
And so, majority of people actually probably have never heard of Paradigm.
I hadn't. Well, I mean, I had heard of them, but that's because they're relatively local. They're not too far away from where we live.
No, exactly, yeah. So out of London, Ontario. They opened up in 2020. So you can kind of put the math together that they're not using their own juice to go into these bottles yet. They are starting to come out with their own stuff. So they're using 4 to 10 year old whiskey that has been matured by someone else. So they're purchasing that and then they're blending it and kind of putting it together, which is a big job and it's a big part of the process. Kind of one of the other neat things that comes up when you look at Paradigm is actually where they're located. So in London, Ontario, Canada was a huge Kellogg's cereal factory.
Really? Okay.
And so that factory closed down in like, I think it was 2014.
Not so great.
Yeah. Well, I think they shipped things off to other countries to produce. So it left this huge building. And I was actually there for work one time when it was still in operation. It's a massive factory. So it left this huge place open and they are doing some really cool things with it. There's an awesome bar there. There is like a whole playground, like laser tag and golf simulators and all that kind of thing. So there's a lot really cool stuff going on. So you can go and you can see their big pot still and their column stills, all that kind of stuff in operation. It's a really, really cool spot. The day I went with my dad, they unfortunately were closed. However, the store was open. So I was able to pick this up and so my dad and I got to try a number of the things that they have coming out. They have a 19-year-old whiskey that they've blended together that is fantastic.
Okay.
It's really good. This is really nice. So it's a mixture of corn and wheat. So a majority of it is wheat, which really gives that soft, nice smooth feeling to it. I like the nose on it, but one of the things I like about this is that it actually has a better taste than the nose to me. And I like the mouthfeel that it gives me. And again, it's just soft. So it's not like overwhelming. It's not hugely complex, but that's kind of one of the things I like about it is that it's nice and easy to drink.
And it's one of those
Really
things,
nice.
when we cracked it, the immediate, like I got pine needles immediately off the nose of it.
Yeah.
And the taste completely shocked me
Yeah.
because it's not a traditional whiskey. There's a ton of different floral, woodsy, naturey flavors going on in here. And it's quite a pleasant surprise. It's not like any other, scotch or anything along those lines. Polar opposite of that.
Yeah.
But it's quite enjoyable. There's a lot of different flavors going on and they all complement each other really, really nicely.
Yeah, I like it. It's got a little bit of sweetness to it too, which is really kind of nice. And then like you said, like it's got a little bit of a crisp, that bit of that wheat to it, which really gives you those little bit of crisp, like spots throughout it as you're drinking it down. And it's really nice. And I've tried a number of things from them. Actually, one of the best things that they make is it's a ready to drink whiskey iced tea. And it is really, really good. And if you look at the bottle, they actually have a platinum award from the Ascots, which is Fred Minnick's awards. So they're doing really good things. I can't say that this is like the greatest bottle of wheated whiskey that I've ever had, but I know that they're coming out with some really nice things. It's a really, really nice bottle, and you can't go wrong for the price either.
There's something else a little bit unique about this bottle as well. It's a female-run operation there. So they're doing really neat stuff, and that probably explains why this is so much of a departure from other traditional classic whiskeys.
Yeah, exactly. And some people would shy away from something that is basically they're blenders at this point. They are working on releasing the stuff that they've distilled, so people would kind of shy away from that. Please don't. Blending is a really intricate and a really unique part of
Some of our favorite
any
whiskeys
bottle.
are blends. Yeah,
Is all blends. They've taken something from someone that knows what they're doing and they've blended it into something really good. And I don't know if you noticed it. You probably didn't because you didn't have the history of it. So on the front of the bottle is a little bit of a nod to the Kellogg's with the big rooster on front.
Check that out. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I don't remember what the mascot's name is for Kellogg's, but it was just a rooster, right? So,
Okay.
So it was really kind of cool. And again, if you're ever in Ontario, in London, Ontario, it's a really cool spot.
So Steve, I think we've learned a valuable lesson today.
I think we have less.
And that is, if we're going to play the 1 to 5 player art-driven game canvas, you want to pair it with
Paradigm, the Chapter 1 weeded whiskey, but almost anything from them. Paradigm whiskey.
Paradigm Whiskey. My name is Les.
And I'm Steve.
And this is Tabletop Tastings.
That it is.
Have a great day.
Yeah.
Do you have the variety? Do you have all 4 of your symbols? No.
I do not.
Do you have composition?
No.
No. Do you have repetition?
No.
No. Do you have exactly?
Nope, I got nothing.
Okay.